I couldn't escape from what was supposed to be the happiest time of my life, only to have it turn into a whirlwind of pain and heartbreak, all because of one simple betrayal. I never imagined that my marriage would end like this, but the truth was undeniable. My wife, Lily, cheated on me, and everything spiraled from there in ways I couldn't have possibly prepared for. Lily and I had been married for 5 years. We had a strong relationship, or at least I thought we did. Both of us had demanding careers. Me in finance and her as a marketing director for a well-known company. Our work schedules sometimes meant we couldn't spend as much time together as we would have liked, but we always made the effort to show each other that we loved one another. Weekend getaways, dinners out, and little thoughtful gestures were our way of staying connected. We communicated well, or at least I believe we did. But over time, something started to shift. It was subtle at first, small things I brushed off, convinced they were just the result of stress or the pressures of our busy lives. Lily began coming home later than usual, and when we were together, she seemed distracted. Conversations that had once flowed so easily now felt forced and awkward. I thought it was just life taking its toll on her, but deep down, I began to feel a growing sense of unease. Then one evening, after Lily had come home particularly late, I found something that shattered my world. It wasn't intentional. I simply grabbed her phone to text her about our dinner plans, but as soon as I picked it up, a message notification popped up. It was from someone I didn't recognize. The message simply read, "Can't wait to see you tonight, babe." The word babe hit me hard. Why was my wife calling someone else that? It was such a simple word, but it carried so much weight, and I couldn't ignore it. The following days were filled with doubt and suspicion. I didn't want to believe it, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. I confronted Lily, asking about the message. She brushed it off quickly, claiming it was nothing, just a friendly message from a colleague. But I could tell she wasn't being truthful. There was hesitation in her voice, and her eyes darted around when she spoke. It only fueled my suspicions. I didn't believe her, but I pushed the thought aside, hoping it was just my imagination. But then it happened again. A week later, I came home early, determined to get to the bottom of what was going on. Lily wasn't home yet, so I took the opportunity to check her phone once more. What I found was worse than I could have ever imagined. More messages, more intimacy, more lies. And then there was a photo of Lily and a man I didn't know. They were smiling, looking as though they had just shared something special. That was it. That was the final straw. When Lily came home that evening, I was already sitting in the living room, waiting for her. The dim light cast long shadows on the walls, and the silence in the room felt suffocating. She walked in as if nothing was wrong, smiling that same smile I had once loved her. "Hey, babe," she greeted, setting her bag down casually. I couldn't take it anymore. "Who is he, Lily?" I asked, my voice steady, but raw with emotion. Her smile faltered, and I could see the hesitation in her eyes. She opened her mouth to speak, but I cut her off. "Don't lie to me. Who is he?" I demanded, pulling up the photo from earlier. Her face went pale as she saw the image, but she quickly masked the shock with a nervous laugh. "It's nothing. Just a friend from work," she said, trying to downplay it. "You're overreacting." But I wasn't buying it. I had seen the messages. I knew the truth. "Don't lie to me," I repeated, my voice shaking with emotion. "I know about the affair. You've been cheating on me." Lily froze. Her face drained of color, and for a long moment, we just stared at each other. The silence between us was deafening. Finally, with a shaky voice, she muttered, "I'm sorry. I didn't mean for it to happen." I couldn't hold it in anymore. The anger, the hurt, the betrayal. Everything came pouring out. "You didn't mean for it to happen?" I scoffed. "You've been sleeping with him behind my back. You lied to me every single day. Every day you looked me in the eye and lied to my face. You betrayed me." My voice cracked, but I didn't care. It was all too much. And then, before I even fully realized what I was saying, I added, I want you to leave. Right now. Lily's face twisted in disbelief. What? No, please. I didn't mean to hurt you. I love you. Please don't do this. But it was too late. The trust between us was gone. The foundation of our relationship had been destroyed, and I couldn't look at her the same way again. The love I once felt for her had been replaced with anger, hurt, and a sense of betrayal that I couldn't shake. I had to be strong, even if it felt like my world was falling apart. There was no turning back now. I stood there, hands trembling with a mix of rage and pain. My mind was racing. I couldn't believe it had come to this. But there was no denying the truth anymore. The betrayal was too deep, too raw. No, Lily. You made your choice, I said, my voice firm, even though every word felt like it was tearing me apart. Now you need to go. Pack your things and leave. Her eyes welled with tears, and for a moment, I saw her falter. She opened her mouth, as though to plead, but I didn't give her the chance. I'm sorry, she whispered, her voice trembling. I truly am. Please just let me stay. We can work through this. We can fix it. But the words barely registered. I couldn't look at her anymore, without seeing the eyes she'd woven, without hearing the betrayal in every syllable. In the silence between us, the love we once shared felt like it belonged to someone else, someone who no longer existed. No, I repeated, more firmly this time. I'm done. You need to leave. The room fell into a thick silence, the kind that suffocates you, makes it hard to breathe. Lily didn't move right away. She just stood there, her face a mixture of anger and sadness, her shoulders shaking. Finally, she grabbed her purse, and through the tears streaming down her face, she said something that felt like a final blow. You'll regret this. You don't know what you're throwing away. What he was asking for, I couldn't understand. I watched her leave, the weight of the decision pressing on my chest. My heart felt heavy, a cocktail of grief and fury swirling inside me. But deep down, I knew it was the right choice. I couldn't keep living a lie, pretending everything was fine when it had all fallen apart. Still, as I stood there, staring at the door she had just walked through, something felt broken beyond repair. Later that evening, as I sat in the emptiness of the apartment, trying to make sense of everything that had happened, there was a knock at the door. I wasn't expecting anyone. When I opened it, my breath caught in my throat. Standing in front of me was the man Lily had been having the affair with. He was tall, dressed in an expensive suit, and his entire demeanor exuded confidence, maybe even arrogance. He appeared to be in his mid-30s, with sharp features and an expression that suggested he was used to getting exactly what he wanted. I froze for a moment, unsure of what to say. The anger I had felt toward Lily in that moment shifted onto this man, the embodiment of the betrayal that had ripped apart my world. What do you want? I asked, my voice low and dangerous. The words felt like they were forced out of me. I think we need to talk, he said, his tone unnervingly calm and measured, as if he were explaining something trivial. I stepped back, not allowing him into the apartment. I don't think so, I said coldly. You don't get to show up here like this. But he didn't relent. Instead, he pressed forward. Listen, I know this must be hard for you to understand, but I'm not here to cause trouble. I just want to explain myself. I could feel my blood begin to boil. Who did he think he was, showing up on my doorstep trying to justify his actions? I didn't need an explanation from him. What I needed was an apology from the woman I had shared my life with, but that was the one thing she wasn't offering. This man, though, just wouldn't leave. He continued telling me how Lily had always been unhappy in our marriage, how he had been there for her when she needed someone. I never intended to hurt you, he said, almost like he was trying to convince himself. It was just a fling and it got out of hand. I felt my fist clench. His words sounded like hollow excuses. He didn't understand the damage he had done. You're wasting your time, I said, my voice ice cold. I don't want to hear it. My wife made her choices. You're just a part of that. But still, he didn't back down. He kept going, telling me how Lily had been confused, how she hadn't been getting the attention she needed at home, and how he had stepped in to fill that void. He said he didn't want to hurt me, but he couldn't walk away from her either. The nerve of him. He was standing there trying to make me feel like the villain in the situation, as though I had done something wrong. My mind raced. How dare he try to justify what they had done? This man wasn't sorry, and his presence here just made everything worse. With a final, cold glare, I slammed the door in his face. The sound of it hitting the frame echoed through the quiet apartment, and I stood there for a moment, listening to the silence that followed. The anger still pulsed through me, but beneath it, a deep sadness settled in. I knew things would never be the same again. The following days were a blur. Lily kept trying to reach out to me, but I ignored her calls. She probably wanted forgiveness, but I couldn't give it. Not yet. Not until I had time to process the destruction she had caused and figure out how to rebuild the pieces of my shattered trust. The pain felt unbearable at times, but I also knew I couldn't stay in this place of hurt and anger forever. I had to find a way to move on, to rebuild my life without her. As for the man from the affair, I never saw him again. But through all of this, I learned something important. Betrayal isn't just about the one who cheats. It's about the damage it does to everyone involved, especially to the one left to pick up the broken pieces. In the end, I knew I'd be okay. Losing someone I thought I'd never lose was painful, but in time, I would find the strength to move forward one step at a time.